Oh my gosh. I mean, these numbers are literally unbelievable. I've never seen numbers like this. Joe Biden just keeps sinking. And I'd like to say he hit an all-time low, but you know what? It could be even lower next week. But this really is, thus far anyway, a really, really bad poll. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trish Regan Show. I am Trish. I just want to remind you that portions of today's program are brought to you by immunityarmorgold.com. Immunity Armor Gold is the most advanced immunity boosting formula you can get in one single product. So go to immunityarmorgold.com, use promo code Trish10 to get 10% off. That's immunityarmorgold.com, promo code Trish10. Wow. I mean, say it ain't so, Joe. 59% of Americans disapprove of the job that Joe Biden is doing as President of the United States of America. 59%. So just because you need to understand like how serious this is, how significant it is, how bad it is. I mean, a lot of people didn't like Donald Trump, right? A lot of people loved him. A lot of people really didn't like him. When you go back to those polls, for you to get even close to this, you got to go back to the January 6 days. And even then, the numbers were not as bad. According to 538.com, if you go back to January 6, 2020, you're looking at a disapproval rate for President Trump of 57.9%. So more people disapprove of Joe Biden right now than they did after January 6th with President Trump. Wow. I mean, think about that. You know, the reason I believe for this is because people had higher expectations from Joe Biden. They voted in who they thought was going to be a middle, centrist, back to normal, sort of nice guy. And it turns out he's incompetent, not at all a centrist, really kind of an extremist that sides with AOC and Bernie Sanders, or at least is trying to court them constantly. And maybe not such a nice guy either, right? So it's like triple whammy. All the things that they thought they were getting, they kind of held them to a higher standard. Maybe with Donald Trump, they were just kind of like, all right, yeah, whatever. But with Joe Biden, they thought, well, we're going to go back to whatever this idea was they had in their head. I mean, I kept saying at the time, people need to think and they need to vote for policy because you got to think about inflation. You got to think about your taxes. You got to think about the economy. You got to think about security. You got to think about the military. You have to think about all of these things, right? Besides personality. And by the way, I didn't think that Joe Biden was really, knocking it out of the park in the personality department either. I mean, that's probably why they hid him in the basement for the entire campaign. So America goes out and elects this guy who's been hidden in the basement for so long, but they've pinned all this hope on that somehow he's going to solve everything. He's going to bring us back together. He's going to unite the country. And yet he's doing anything but that. Anything but that. We have a more divided country now. We have a country now that has been through HELL and back. You think about all those images, and whether you were sitting there in front of the TV and digesting them every day and night as I was, or whether you were just getting them on the peripheral, as many people were, it was hard to see. It was hard to take. It was hard to watch. And it was so disappointing. I mean, I don't disagree with the idea of getting out of Afghanistan. I think a lot of people support that and wanted to do that. But the way it was done and the way it was handled was really, really tragic. And that did not go unnoticed. And you couple that together with then the inflation that we've been having to deal with as a nation, which I told you was coming. And by the way, we haven't seen the worst of it yet. Trust me on that. It's going to get much, much worse before it gets better here. And you don't have any kind of remedy because you don't have people smart enough, frankly, or able to lead enough to really confront this head on. So that's going to continue growing worse. And then you got Merrick Garland threatening the FBI to parents who just want to have a say in how their kids are being taught. So all these things together mean, you know what? The guy that's supposed to be leading us, that's supposed to be the nice guy, that's supposed to be the centrist, well, he's anything but. And it's really upsetting people. And the problem for Democrats right now is they have no way out, right? They can't run this guy again. And by the way, they have no bench. We're going to get to that in a second because you won't believe Kamala's numbers. Anyway, I do want to point out today's program is brought to you by Immunity Armor Gold. And winter is coming. Winter is coming, which means every single one of us all of us, will benefit, can benefit from having a strong immune system. Immunity Armor Gold's 9 key ingredients, they work together as a force multiplier to help your body build a stronger immune system. In addition to better immunity, some users also report sustained energy levels throughout the day, always good. Better sleep quality, another thing is very good. Healthier blood pressure levels, even improved hair growth, particularly among women over 50, particularly in women over 50. Immunity Armor Gold is made in the USA. It's GMO, gluten and allergen-free. Plus, you know, it has no stimulants. It has no stimulants at all, which is obviously a good thing. No artificial sweeteners, no colors. And the best part is no pills to swallow. That's good, right? No pills to swallow. You just mix it in its powdered form with water. So do me this favor. Go to immunityarmorgold.com. Use promo code Trish10 to get 10% off. immunityarmorgold.com. Promo code Trish10. You'll get 10% off. And it's important to take care of ourselves all this winter. But so Joe Biden needs to take care of himself too, let me just say. Maybe get a little bit more sleep. You saw him sleeping over there at the G20 climate summit meetings. I mean, I know those meetings can be really boring, but allegedly sleeping, I should say, because we don't know that for a fact. But the pictures certainly were not good. It's like, hey, buddy, look, remember, you're on camera. You're on candid camera, right? All the time. You're the president, which means also you can't be looking at your watch when the bodies come home from Afghanistan. That was another big faux pas. Anyway, Kamala Harris is not doing much better here in this polling. She has just a 27.8% approval rating. So what are the Dems thinking? You know, they were trying to control this all so much. Remember, they don't want him to ever talk to reporters. They're always controlling him. They're trying to control her. She can't go to the border. But in all that control, they're really not having the kind of intended effect that I think that they would want. In that America doesn't really like these guys and gals. I mean, I've just never seen anything like it. USA Today, Suffolk University poll, I should point that out. 46% of Americans say that Joe Biden is doing a worse job than they had expected him to do. Right. Because they didn't know. They just figured, well, you know, he's not Trump. Listen, you got to be a whole lot more than just not Trump. You're running a country, for goodness sakes. That's a hard job. And this guy, you know what? He's not that smart. He didn't do that well in law school or undergrad for that matter. He's been on the wrong side of pretty much every issue from a foreign policy perspective as long as he has been in government, which is a very long time, like try 4 decades. And then Kamala Harris, her issue, one is likability, okay? She's not the most likable person. In part, she just kind of steps in it over and over again. She laughs a lot when she shouldn't laugh. Serious topics like, are you going to the border? And she starts laughing. Look, she needs to go to the border. That's her job. She's been charged with it. She's voided it. She needs to go to the border. She needs to lose the laugh. I mean, I'm sorry, if I were her consultant, I would tell her, you need to work on it. All right? You just need to work on it because for whatever reason, you got this nervous laugh and it really turns people off. So she does not seem relatable. I question in some ways, too, sort of her intelligence. All these people, I'm not doubting their political intelligence. I think they're very, very political. But in just pure, raw intelligence and sort of gut instincts, like the gut instinct would be to go to the border. And instead, she's doing the opposite. But remember, during the Kavanaugh hearings, how terrible her questioning was. Wasn't really even thoughtful from a legal perspective, but was just so highly politically motivated. And so this is who she is. She's politically motivated. Politically, she thinks it's smart to avoid the border. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Because again, this is not an issue that needs to be left or right. It's pretty simple. I mean, every other country in the world has borders and every other country in the world enforces them. I mean, you go anywhere in Europe, they're checking your passport there, believe me. You go to Canada and they're checking it. You go to Australia or New Zealand or Iceland, I mean, anywhere else in the world. And borders matter. And yet somehow they've corrupted all this to try and make you think that you're the crazy one, you're the racist one if you actually think that we should have a border in the United States of America. Well, people are sitting there going, no, that doesn't really make sense to me. And don't forget, this used to be an issue that the left was very passionate about, borders, remember? And you can go back, and Hillary Clinton said it, Bill Clinton said it, Barack Obama said it. I mean, this is all new, this business that somehow it's racist to have a border. So this is not playing in Peoria, as they say. And if these numbers continue, and I suspect they will continue getting worse and worse and worse, yes, the Democrats will lose 2022. Yes, they will lose 2024. I mean, you can pretty much run anybody against them right now, and they're going to lose because they're not standing up for this country. They're not standing up for the people who are here, and people get it. People get it. So there was very high expectations for this duo coming in. They have failed to meet them on every front. And as we fast forward here, I'm just going to tell you this, you know, I'm an economic journalist, a business journalist. The inflation numbers will get worse. And that's going to be a problem because it takes so much in terms of spending power out of your average American family's budget. You're paying more at the gas pumps. That means you have less money to do everything else. And not only are you just paying more at the gas pumps, you're paying more for everything. You're paying more for clothes. You're paying more for movie tickets. You're paying more for the food that you feed your family every week. All of these costs are going up, and they're going to keep coming back to bite Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, as they should, because you know what? No excuses. You guys are in charge now. It's your country. You're running the show. And look what you've done with it so far. Just a quick reminder, do make sure to subscribe to my podcast on Apple iTunes or on Spotify. Oh, if you want, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below if you're watching the video version of this on Rumble or on YouTube, because I always look at those and I love seeing them and I often write back to them. In fact, just the other day on the show, we did a Ask Me Anything and actually read from a lot of those comments. So do me that favor. If you have any thoughts, why do you think Joe Biden's poll numbers are the worst of any modern day president? I'm curious to know your thoughts on this too. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in as always, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.